streaming. How are you so tired? It's like Tuesday.
Because I started work and then...
You really need a new job.
What? Find me a job that's not sitting at a desk.
I can find you one that's the same sitting at a desk for a lot more money.
No. Unless it's so much more money that I only have to work there for like a year and then I can retire. Maybe 2 years was okay also. Is there like, like professional athlete salary? The kind where I can work short and then retire.
Well, who's the lowest paid NHL player?
Probably some rookie.
Yeah.
Or someone who just got like signed off waivers for the minimum or something.
Lowest paid,
like the guy we just got.
Lowest paid American arena football player. I can get you that salary.
I think I might make that.
All right, I think we're good to go. Recording, everything seems good.
I think top level pro, I think the minimum is usually like, $500,000 a year, something like that.
Yeah, I never know what the minimums are for these
It's
things.
different in sports, but I somewhere around there. Let's see.
All right.
They got unions. If I had a union, I can get a minimum salary, but
Get a
no one wants to make a union with me. I bring it up all the time.
You and I will make a union.
All right, let's start it. Are you gonna go on strike with me?
I'm not striking. My job's great.
No, we gotta go. We don't.
I'll show solidarity, but I won't strike.
We gotta go on strike until we get the same benefits they get in like Northern Europe, where like 30 guaranteed vacation days and 2 years of
Hey, I can take
leave if you got a baby
sabbaticals.
and guaranteed sabbaticals.
I got guaranteed sabbaticals.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying you could work at a better place.
It's not better if I gotta actually do work during the day.
Well, that's your problem.
I want to not work. Why should I sacrifice most of the best times of my life?
You're sacrificing it anyway.
I want to not sacrifice it.
Crime.
That's also sacrificing.
No, go big or go home. You might make it. You might win.
I could be in prison. I could just buy lottery tickets. It's safer.
I feel like crime has a higher payout, and also the odds aren't that bad.
All right, why don't you do this crime?
Because I'm making plenty of money at my job.
But you got to work.
Yeah, I don't mind my work though.
I mind all. There's no work.
We'll see how I feel in a year. It is a new job.
There is no work that I do not mind.
It is very easy to think that a new job is better just because it's different.
There is no such thing as a work that I do not mind, unless like at least anything that I wouldn't.
What if you made your current salary, but you had to do this crap for like 6 hours a day?
That's too many hours.
Okay. All right, let's do the show.
I want to wake up and just do what I feel like doing.
Well, then commit enough crime to be idly wealthy. And if that doesn't work, well...
I just want to do what I feel like doing.
You know what? If you're in prison, you can just do whatever you want just within those walls.
You're severely limited in the things that you can do.
You don't have to do anything, though. You can just sit there.
I do not want to just sit there. That's what I do now. I'm basically in prison now.
See, the trouble is I don't just steamed hams. I don't just sit there. I actually do stuff at my new job.
I don't want to do stuff. Why should I do stuff to make some old guy rich? I don't give a fuck about.
Why don't you do stuff to make you rich?
All right, what do I do? Is it guaranteed to work?
Yeah, get a job that pays more.
Yeah, but then I have to actually do stuff.
Okay. I thought you said you were mad that you weren't doing stuff.
I don't want to do stuff to make some old guy rich.
All right.
I want to do what I want to do.
See, this
and
is why,
also eat.
See, the trouble is, this is why I would never hire you for anything that I'm going to do. Because I
want to do what I want to do.
I know how much you'll work.
And also eat food. I do the bare minimum to keep my job.
What if you just got food and a place to sleep in New York City?
Internet connection?
And an internet connection.
And whatever nerdy thing I want?
Nope.
Well, that doesn't work.
Okay, then.
I need my nerdy goods. Travel
like,
to all conventions.
We got like 6 people watching, so I guess we can start this stupid
hockey
show.
Tickets? Are you going to give me the hockey tickets?
If
you give me all the things that I currently buy and pay all the bills I currently pay, then I don't need monies as long as I have all these things.
Will you then do 40 hours of work a week for me?
I want to do what I want to do.
There we go.
What's the point? What's the difference if I do the work for you or for someone else?
Because you're not making some old rich guy rich.
You're an old rich kid.
I'm not that old.
You're old.
I'm not that rich.
Doesn't matter. I want to work. I want to do what I want to do. Is my job description do what Scott wants to do?
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get that unless you become some sort of, I don't know, escort for an old rich guy. I feel like then you could mostly get
That's not what I want to do, though.
Well, you'd only have to do that for a short amount of time.
What do you mean?
Like, you'd basically just have to be an escort for however long it takes an old guy to get off, like however often that happens, and then you do whatever you want with this money.
I don't think that's gonna work.
It has better odds than the lottery or what you're
I
doing
don't think
now.
that pays as much as you think.
It does when the old guy finally dies.
You think I get all his money?
Probably, if you do it right.
Why would I get the money?
Because he's going to leave it to you.
Why?
Because he needs you in the first place. He's lonely. It's a scam.
I don't think it works like that.
Just scam. Just pull a scam. Just crime. I'm telling you, crime's the only way.
I need something that's risk-free.
It's Tuesday, January 30th, 2018. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Tonight, we're talking about the adorable Rattaneer.
Yar.
Yar.
Yar. Yar. Yar. Yar.
All right, just going to make sure you sound good there.
Yar.
It's Tuesday. I wonder if it's streaming that. Scott's so quiet because he's so tired.
But, man,
Okay, it's good enough.
there's a difference between the mic being quiet and me being quiet, right? Like, you can take a photo and it could be underexposed. You can take a photo of, but it's dark and it's supposed to be dark.
I got knobs that
Because you're it's like Alien or something, right? It's dark. It's supposed to be dark. It's not underexposed.
It's been a while since we've done a Tuesday show because we've been out of town and busy.
It's been a while since we did any show.
Yeah, but Tuesdays are the easiest shows to do because we actually do play a lot of games. Almost every convention we go to is a gaming con.
Well, because you only do two shows a month, right?
Yep.
Of gaming, assuming we don't bail.
Yep.
And we go to one convention, you're playing like 10 board games.
Yep.
So that's getting you 5 months, which definitely carries you to the next convention. And that's
also-
just board games, not any other games.
All the non-Geek Night stuff we do, it's like 80% gaming right now.
It's also really easy to find gaming news.
Yeah, that is true. It's also really easy to make gaming news by just reviewing something briefly.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we're back. It's a Tuesday show. If you saw us at MagFest or PAX Unplugged and you wondered why we were talking about anime or neckbeards or whatever, tonight's your night. We're actually talking about games. It's every other Tuesday we do this.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. So right off the bat, we got some news. If you might know, in fact, one of our more popular YouTube videos is us teaching a bunch of people how to play
Hey,
Tigris
you're stealing my news.
and Euphrates. I'm introducing your news, like the MC.
Yeah.
Tigris and Euphrates is literally our favorite board game.
Mm-hmm. So
And I don't say that lightly.
at PenguinCon 2.0 in ancient times, there were many legendary things that occurred there.
We met Steve Jackson.
One of the legendary things that happened was we went into a room of board games, which we discovered too late into the convention.
Yep.
And there were some employees from then thriving Mayfair Games, and they had this game T&E, which I had vaguely heard of.
That they had just published in the U.S. because
No, it hadn't.
they
been
had,
just
they
published.
had, remember, the tiles we were playing with were mixed in German and U.S. tiles because they didn't have enough
The game
pieces.
wasn't that. This game had been in the U.S. for a while.
But they had just done a printing of it, and it was
But
a
anyway,
different size
the
tile.
point was that
This guy
I'd heard
explained
of
this to
this
me in depth.
game, and we played. They taught us how to play, and we played, and we're like, whoa! And then we bought it, and then we proceeded to play it many, 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 many times, and to this day, there are games that we play at like a PAX, and before the PAX is over, we're done with it.
Yep.
T&E, a game that we have played perhaps as long as most games that we played, tabletop-wise, and still play it, and have not. We are not done with it.
3-player Puerto Rico ran out of plays, but T&E did not.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your news, Scott?
So
Why am I talking about Tigris and Euphrates?
go Dr. K, Rainer Knizia, the creator of not Puerto Rico, T&E.
I've never heard anyone call him Dr. K before.
I've been calling him Dr. K all the time.
I've never heard you do that, but I'm going to also start doing that because I like that.
I decided to do it on my own. I never heard anyone else do it, and I just kept doing it.
I'm gonna.
I don't know if that'll make him mad, but if it does, oh well.
I'm gonna be your first follow.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, so Rainer Knizia, also known as Dr. K, and not the one who helps you kill yourself. Not that Dr. K.
Not Dr. Dre.
No, is a man who has prolifically made a bunch of amazing board games, including T&E, and he has announced and put out the pictures and press release and the rule book for a as yet unpublished game called Yellow and Yangtze
You might recognize those as being the names of rivers.
in a different part of the world than the Tigris and the Euphrates. And basically, this game is T&E with hexes instead of squares.
Oh my god!
And also rules modifications to accommodate the hexes instead of squares.
I cannot stress to you how much the news that this is T&E with hexes matters to people like me, Scott, and our friend Pete, and our friend Alex.
Like the fact that this would come out so many years after T&E, that would be like if Nintendo put out like, well, I guess Nintendo does do that. They'll F-Zero and then wait 20 years and then another F-Zero.
Yeah.
That's what this is.
But that doesn't happen with the things we care about usually.
No, but yeah, well, we care about F-Zero. So
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, this is going to get like Insta-bought and played a zillion times.
So
And
what we're thinking about doing is T&E is a game that we love it. We know it inside out. We're kind of obsessed with it. I'm really curious what it'll be like with hexes because if you've played any game, it does not matter what kind of game it is, doesn't matter what the rules are in almost any capacity, changing between hexes, triangle grids, which no one really uses anymore, or squares has profound impacts in ways that you might not realize.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious what the game of T&E is like with hexes.
Mm-hmm.
And I imagine that it is okay at minimum because otherwise Dr. K would not have done this to us.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it would work with triangles.
You and your stupid triangles.
I like the triangle grid.
For
What do you
anyone,
want?
for anyone who's not nerdy enough to realize, the hex map, it's like, why doesn't everyone use a square map? Well, the reason the hex map is the best map for all gaming is because each space is equally distant from any other space. You move to any adjacent space and you are moving the same distance, right? On a square map, if you move to say, you can only move 4 directions. If you try to move diagonally, you're actually moving a different distance because of the Pythagorean theorem, right? If you have a triangle map, also, moving one space is not always the same unit of distance. On a hex map, moving one adjacent space always moves you the same distance in space, and so all movements are equal on a hex map. A hex map is the perfect and best map for all games which require movement of dudes around on the map.
However, hex maps have some fun. Well, one, there's no movement in T&E.
That's what I didn't say, but just saying, for games that require movement, say BattleTech.
Also,
or a D&D.
by saying that it is the best way to deal with movement, you are really discounting the triangle grid.
I am discounting your stupid
Triangle grids
grid.
have a time and a place.
No, they don't. You're just obsessed with triangle grids lately because you realize that orthogonal and diagonal apply to them.
But
and you get
we've said
obsessed.
in many
That's
panels,
how you do is you get obsessed with a thing, and then that's a thing for you,
the problem with hexes
regardless
is
of merit.
that the definition of diagonal is crazy, but more importantly, hexes mean that there are 6 things directly adjacent to any other thing.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to squares, where if you're doing orthogonal adjacency, there's only 4 things. That is a big deal for many things. That is a big deal for Tigris and Euphrates.
You know what we should do?
That changes everything.
You know what we should do, Rim?
What should we do?
We should just make Hex Carcassonne.
I don't think it would be good.
I want to play.
I don't think Hex Carcassonne would be good.
Yeah, surround that fucking what's it called? It's gonna be way easier.
The cathedral?
Yeah, the whatever. No, not the cathedral. The other one.
What other one?
The one where when it surrounds, you take your guy off.
Anything?
No, the
cloister?
Yeah, that one.
We just did a panel where we taught people this game.
Uh-huh.
The thing where you surround the thing. Remember, though, Factory Fun, squares was great, and hexes is apparently awful.
That's true.
Everyone said, I haven't played it, but everyone I know who has played the new Factory Fun with hexes has said that it is not fun.
I agree.
So I think what we might do is, this is an idea I had and people seem into it. I feel like we should try to do we just did our Judge Anime by its cover again. I kind of want to try to read the rules to this T&E version too.
They're up there. Read them. Their PDF is right there.
And then do a show where
read most
we
of them.
try to review it before we play it and then review it after we play it and see how right we were. I really want to see if we are able to figure out how the game really is based on the rules alone and our deep knowledge
but
of
that's
T&E.
not an objective thing because in your preview where you just read the rules, you could cement judgments in your mind and then hold firm in those beliefs regardless of what actually occurs during the game.
Is that one, not an argument we could make for our Judge Anime by its cover?
I mean, it happens to scientists doing real legit research too, so it's not like it's unavoidable.
But 2, other people may play the game and then listen to both of our reviews and both notice the differences and be able to have an opinion on which of the reviews is more accurate to their experience.
Whatever.
We're the test subjects. We're not the testors.
The point is this game be coming. This is a big deal for us. I don't know if it's a big deal for you, but I mean, you're listening to Geek Nights.
Yeah.
I mean,
I feel the first comment in the Board Game Geek thread you linked me to is, I really wonder how the T&E diehards will feel about this.
Is that
one.
a GeekNights listener?
I assume so.
I don't know.
It's Dr. J over here.
Oh, one before Dr. K. You got one up on him.
So in the other news,
He knows how to slam dunk Dr. J.
I got a brief geek bite for you because I did finally the only reason I didn't own any VR up until now is that I didn't have time. Like,
The only reason I didn't own any VR up until now is because it's a ginormous thing you got to slap to your head.
See, I don't know why it's not that enormous. It actually works great.
I'm not down with the VR until it's like cool sunglasses or a jack that goes into my neck or something like that.
I don't think you'll ever experience VR in your life then.
I think we're good. I think we will definitely make it.
We'll see. Material science is a limitation. But anyway, I would say, having an Oculus and having fucked around with it a bunch, now that I finally have time.
Material science is a limitation. Let me show you telephones from earlier in my life compared to telephones now.
Yeah, telephones are still a physical thing I got to carry around.
They're way small.
They're not just in me.
Yeah.
Also, they're getting bigger. They're
That
not
is
that
true.
small anymore.
They could be small.
They're
though.
getting worse.
We have the power to make them small.
But
if
we
so
choose
choose.
not to.
They're still way smaller than a VR headset.
So I would say it is not worth, if you do not have a modern hot shit gaming PC, it is not worth it to get one just to get VR. But if you already have a gaming PC that
and a
is
bunch
capable,
of extra money to burn and nothing better to do,
then the extra money it takes to have full motion tracking VR, pretty minuscule compared to what you paid for that PC. The whole Oculus thing costs less than a third of what a 1080 will cost you today, thanks to the coin miners. But what I want to geek bite here is a game, because a lot of people talk about what the must-play games are if you get VR.
there's not too many of them, at least not yet.
There's probably 10 or fewer must-play VR games right now.
Bomb defusing one.
Yeah.
The job simulating one.
Yeah, the Rick and Morty one is actually
I've heard good things about that.
The Rick and Morty one is fantastic. It might be the second best VR game there is.
The robot shooty one.
Robo Recall startled me to the point that I ran into the wall. But I would say that the top of those is Superhot VR.
The bad guys only move when you move.
So Superhot is an FPS where the shtick is nothing moves except when you're moving.
Right. So
if
basically
you stop moving, the game is paused.
Right. So if you play this game, basically you just take your mouse, hands off the keyboard and mouse, and you look around and you think, all right, I got to kill that guy next. How am I going to move? And you move real carefully and then headshot him. And then, but meanwhile, as you're doing that, all the other bad guys are coming, or perhaps even shooting. And you're like, well, I see a bullet coming at me. I got to move this way and dodge. It's almost like a real-time, a turn-based game, but you sort of, control the clock, but it only goes forward. And it's really, really good concept.
It's really good concept, and it's really fun. But Superhot VR is not just we made a VR version of Superhot, because the reality is very few games can just be turned into a VR version of the game. And games that people who try to do this tend to make really bad experiences.
Any FPS is much easier to do because it's FP, because pretty much VR has to be FP.
Yeah, you'd think that, but there's a lot of surprising problems that make that not feasible.
I'm just saying, you want to make games in VR first person. If we really were to have a third person VR
Actually, some of the must-play games are these third-person games. They work great.
What, like Mario?
Lucky's Tale or whatever.
How does that work?
Just third person. You just got to see it. Play it, and you're like, oh, I get it. And it's hard to explain the experience. But anyway.
What, are you poking Lucky in the ass to make him move? You're actually not Lucky?
I feel, poking him in the ass is probably yet another game. Because one thing I will say, poking around the indie VR experiences.
Lots of porn?
Not real. They're not porn. Well,
porn adjacent?
They are porn adjacent. They are porn for certain people and not porn for other people. They are like a waifu comes and stands next to you, the game. But Superhot VR is its own experience. And to Geekbite it, having played it, it is a peak gaming experience. Everything everyone has said about it is 100% accurate. This game, it's really short. It's a very curated experience. You can beat the whole thing in under an hour. It is the best experience I have had in VR, hands down, bar none, no exceptions. And it is an amazing game. I'm not saying that if you don't want VR, that you should buy VR to play this game. But if you have a VR headset, you're doing yourself a grave disservice not playing this game. It is intense. And the deal is, it's just like the concept we talked about. Everything's frozen, and as you move, the game moves. Turning your head counts as movement.
Mm-hmm.
So you're basically Neo in the Matrix, like you shoot a guy in the face with a gun that's not with a shotgun. You drop it, and you slowly raise your hand up and catch the gun that he dropped out of the air and turn around in bullet time, dodging bullets and shoot another guy in the face. It's also very high concept because it starts you in a room, and in the game you put on a VR helmet and play Superhot, and then you take the VR helmet off and do other stuff. Mm-hmm. It's just abstract and beautiful and crazy, and it is like the example of what to strive for in making a VR game. I cannot stress enough how fantastic this game is. My only warning to you is that it is quite intense, and the scariest thing that will ever happen is just someone knocking on a door. So what do you got? You got anything else? Other than the fact that we were at PAX.
I had my news, which is that there's a new game coming out.
And MagFest.
You didn't even have a news.
That was my news with a Geek Bite.
Yeah. I thought you said there's so much gaming news.
There is, and I didn't want to waste all our time talking about all this gaming news. We could talk about how the Overwatch League has had already 2 separate instances of high-profile sexism.
Yeah, it's got problems.
And also the fact that I watch the games, and I enjoy them.
I only watch New York versus Philly, and it's like, even as someone who's never played Overwatch, it's like, oh, all right, this is okay.
But I literally do not care who wins any game.
Yeah, it's like I wanted to root for New York, but it's like there's no connection between that team and New York,
the New York
whatsoever.
Team has so little tie to New York that if you changed the names of all the teams so they were officially from different cities, I don't think anyone would notice.
They don't play in New York. They don't
play in New York. They're not from New York.
There's nothing. I mean, their name is Excelsior, which is New York-ish because the New York State, I guess motto.
There's only 2 kinds of people who recognize that word. People who care a lot about New York State and comics fans.
People who like Stan Lee.
Yeah. No one else even thinks about that word, and that word means nothing to them.
Yeah, it's like, all right.
Like
and the logo doesn't even look good.
Nope, they didn't.
It doesn't make me want to buy their merch.
The token effort of having like a physical place somewhere in New York doesn't even have to be a good
I'm pretty sure all these games are played at the Blizzard Arena in LA.
Yep. They need a place in New York where they sell tickets for people to physically sit and watch the game on a screen.
They do at the LA. Oh.
Yeah. Oh.
At the Blizzard Arena.
The teams are just so interchangeable that I can't care about them.
Yep.
Despite being a crazy fan of both Overwatch competitively and playing Overwatch.
They came so close. And then the other thing is that Overwatch is such a fast game to watch. They keep the camera work. They keep switching between characters.
They don't do it
constantly. It's not the greatest spectator experience.
Well,
I feel like they should just
like how MOBAs when we.
I feel like they should just use a zoomed. They should never use the first person view ever. They should just use. You don't have a first person view when you're watching NFL. Just give me the all 22 the whole time.
What I would do actually? If I were,
I guess in this case, the all 10.
If I were the production manager for esports like Overwatch, I would always make sure that there are 2 different feeds for every game that's our real game. There'd be the normal spectator view that has a certain kind of commentary, and it's that high level, never first person, zoomed out, curated view. And then I'd have a separate stream that is, are you a serious Overwatch player? Here's your crazy bullshit. Here's the zoomed in view that you want because
I don't know why we don't have more a user control of the cameras during esports, because if you look at, say, Hearthstone, when you watch Hearthstone on Twitch, everyone's using these plugins now, all the streamers, and the plugins allow you to move your mouse over the deck to see how many cards are left, or hover your mouse over a card to see what
old
the
FPS tournaments in the old ass days before modern esports, the spectator mode was you join a game like a tournament.
They still have that.
Yeah, but you join it as a spectator, and that was the primary way you'd watch. You just move around and watch whatever you wanted to watch.
So there's actually, this is going to be in my other news, but I guess we got to it, right? So this crazy thing happened where I forget, is it Dota, I think? Or was it Dota or was it LOL? I forget, but basically
doesn't matter.
I think it's Dota. And I know what it is. Okay, so ESL, the European esports group, right?
Yep.
They made an exclusive agreement to stream Dota on Facebook only, right? So the official ESL Dota championship was streamed on Facebook, And if you were to restream that on Twitch, they would shut you down for copyright infringement because you're like restreaming this, broadcast and you don't have express written consent.
You had only implied oral consent.
You had no consent whatsoever.
You had no consent.
Right.
Well,
but what some people did is they used Dota TV, which is sort of like Half-Life TV. They basically spectated the pros in Dota on their computer and broadcasted that on Twitch with their own commentary and their own camera work, right? Basically, it'd be like if I was at the NFL game with my own camera making my own TV channel.
Yep. Now, I'm going to tell you right
this,
now.
according to Valve, that is A-OK. You can totally do that. And that doesn't violate, the only one who can stop you from doing that is Valve. But ESL was trying to shut people down on Twitch for doing that. They weren't rebroadcasting ESL stuff. And Valve and ESL are now butting the heads. And this is really awesome.
Now, my opinion.
And fascinating.
ESL, independent of any, what the actual legal arguments will be, is making a big goddamn mistake by trying to do this kind of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
That is not the way to monetize your esports because you cannot treat that aspect of it like traditional sports.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no culture in watching baseball of recreating the baseball games and then streaming that.
I think another thing is that, you look at TV sports, right? If you sign an exclusive TV agreement for a sport and so now your favorite team is on this channel instead of that channel, right? The only real difference is the announcers. And it's like, oh, you lost the announcer you liked and now you got a shitty one. Or maybe you get a better one. That's the only real difference, right? You don't care if your football game's on CBS or Fox that much because they're all shitty announcers.
But there isn't a culture.
Except for like two, right?
There is not a culture in those sports of doing streaming. Esports,
right? No, but what I say, but here in esports, right? Watching on Facebook is very different than watching on YouTube. They're very different than watching on Twitch.
Yep.
The actual channel it's on matters a lot. So when Facebook wants to get some gaming content on their streaming site, so they make these deals and they pay ESL to bring the games exclusively to Facebook, right? That's basically like, well, this game's on a shitty channel that's worthless to watch on, and now people are going to watch these other people instead, who are doing their own broadcast, competing with the official one.
Yep. I wonder who makes these kinds of decisions. Like, do they
Facebook paid ESL a bunch of money, and ESL said, wow, we could really use that bunch of money. Okay, sure, we don't give a fuck.
But no one involved on either side thought for a minute of, wait, is this going to work?
I mean, ESL, I think, probably realized, but I mean, they're like, well, it'll stream, who cares?
Yeah.
And Facebook, I guess, has so much money, and they're stupid.
Yeah. I feel like companies like Facebook are going to vastly mishandle this in a way that
they already mishandle it.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to continue to mishandle it.
Yeah, but yeah, this is a fascinating story here, and there's more to come in this arena, and I'm watching it closely.
All right. But anyway, things of the day. What do you got?
What did I have? I forget.
Getting Over It.
Yeah, so this is a game called Getting Over It.
Which I literally had never heard of.
Rim had never heard of this, even though it's a big deal and everyone's raving about it lately. Anyway, so
I just never encountered it.
You may have, if you don't know exactly what I'm talking about already, you may have seen a game where there is a man or some sort of human inside of a cauldron with their torso sticking out, and they have a sledgehammer, and they wield this sledgehammer to climb, and they basically poke the sledgehammer down to push themselves up, swing it around to grab onto things.
It's
basically
crossed with Mount Your Friend.
That's basically what it is. It's climbing QWOP. It has the controls are as awful as you think they are by looking at it, right? And you can get used to it though if you play it a bunch. And this game has been all the rage lately. There've been a lot of videos of it. The game has a few jump scares, so there was some great video going around of people getting freaked out by the jump scares and then falling all the way down. So yeah, it's pretty good game. I'm not playing it because I feel like watching the video, I got all I need to get out of it, and it's not worth my time. But I still applaud this game. Good job, nice design, nice, very clever, very funny. Good job, you. Anyway, here is my thing of the day, which is somebody getting the world record time for beating this game, which is basically like a few minutes. And you can see the whole game really, really quick. This person is like a master. They practiced so much. Oh, my God. And then they uninstalled the game right after they got this world record, and I'm pretty sure it is still the world record for beating this game. Good job. I clap for you.
That is amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, if you have somehow are like Rim and have been living under a rock and haven't seen the game called Getting Over It, here you go.
I don't know how I missed this. It's just my social media
I imagine
feed,
most of you have seen it.
and somehow in my social media feed, literally no one has mentioned this game.
It's been around for a while.
Oh yeah, it just never came up in my social media.
All right.
So when I was a kid at Cedar Point, there was a roller coaster that I rode, and it was called Avalanche Run.
Okay.
Didn't have rails.
What
It
did
was like a
have?
toboggan run, like half
Is that
pipes.
water?
No,
So like a bobsled, but instead of ice, just
basically,
wood?
yeah, it was a roller coaster bobsled.
How did
pretty cool.
How did the friction not like just start a fire or something?
I mean, it worked fine.
Was
This
it
video
was it like a
actually-
fiberglass tube or something? I don't
Yeah, this video will actually get into detail on all
like
that.
I imagine the friction would like wear away the thing you're sitting in, right? So, like one of the two surfaces, either the track or the thing you're in, the vehicle, are gonna like erode, right?
That would ended up being
And
fine.
scratching against each other.
But anyway, the ride was not popular because it actually just wasn't that good.
I
could've
imagine that
been,
would
it
not
just-
be a smooth ride.
No, it was smooth. It just wasn't that scary or fun. Like it was a pretty milquetoast roller coaster.
Maybe that's why the friction didn't start fires.
So this coincided when they decided this roller coaster wasn't actually that popular or doing that well with Star Tours in Disney.
Oh, the one where I've done Star Tours. Basically, Star Tours is a Star Wars ride. It used to be the only Star Wars ride in Disney, but
Yep.
now they're building a Star Wars land around it, I guess.
I'm
but
pretty sure Star Tours is gone.
is it?
I'm pretty sure when it was gone a long time ago.
Oh, I've ridden it many times. But
Oh
anyway,
yeah,
you
as a
sit,
kid,
you
I probably
sit,
rode it like 8 times in a row.
you go and you sit in what appears to be a Star Wars vehicle. They close the door and there's a screen in the front, and it
Yeah,
shows.
Scott, it closed 8 years ago.
Oh, okay. I've ridden it many times, thankfully.
Yeah.
And you get a video of like C-3PO and R2-D2 doing something, and the thing moves around, but it doesn't move forward or back. It just sort of moves in place and makes you feel like you're moving. And they have improved on that not moving ride technology much since the time of Star Tours.
Oh, the newest Harry Potter equivalent of that is pretty fucking crazy.
Even the Spider-Man one I went on in like the late 90s, early 2000s,
Nope.
or whatever when that one was, the is way, way, way beyond Star Tours.
so
Star Tours is like Back to the Future ride level of, action.
this video is basically a really deep dive into what Cedar Point did with that roller coaster. Because what they did, I mentioned this on GeekNights a long time ago, they built a building around the roller coaster,
Mm-hmm.
and they made it a themed Star Tours-like experience
With no Star Wars.
with the Disney-style line. Yeah, no Star Wars.
Did they use Snoopy? Because it's a Snoopy park. Right?
It wasn't Snoopy Park then. It became Snoopy Park relatively recently.
I thought it's no longer Snoopy Park.
Well, but before that, it wasn't anything.
Okay.
They had a Berenstein Bears Land like in the middle for kids, but there was no
Licensed.
there was no license to
properties.
anything at Cedar Point.
Mm-mm.
So this video is a pretty well-researched deep dive into the whole story of why Cedar Point did this, what this ride was like, and it sort of has this implied story of there's not a lot of footage or photographs of this or a lot of similar things from this era. It is amazing how much information from the late 70s through the early 90s is just fucking gone.
Mm.
And this video like does the best it can to get all the information that's possible to describe
You
a
think
thing.
you think information for that era is gone. If you go back in time, it's even more is gone. As you go back in time, more information is gone. Until recently, where we've had ridiculous recording and storage technologies.
Yep.
Even now, think about how much is gone. We can't even keep fucking websites from GeoCities around.
But like the only reason we actually know like what it like we can see today what it looks like inside this ride is because some rando carried a camcorder in there once and
Yep.
we got a hold of that footage.
Yep.
So this video is just really interesting about the history of this one roller coaster in detail and like why it was made the way it was and how Cedar Point decided to try to copy Disneyland and have an experience as opposed to a thrill ride. And then they realized, fuck that, and they never did that again, and now they make just crazy thrill rides.
Mm-hmm.
It's also interesting because you might have seen me complaining on Twitter about this. The only complaint I have is this is another one of those videos that is really good, except the person who does the narration is a fragile child who has modulated their voice because they don't like what their voice sounds like when they hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And that bothers me to the point that it's very hard to watch videos that have that.
Just my initial guess, though, is that, Cedar Point, the employees who make the rides are engineers largely, and thus they would fail to make an experience, whereas Disney Imagineers are extremely creative people.
So actually, the experience...
And also engineers.
The experience they made was actually really high production values.
Well, just that doesn't mean it's creatively good. You could have you could give me a ton of money to make a movie, and it will suck.
This video answered a question that was burning in my mind for decades. Because when I got off this ride, because when Cedar Point got a new roller coaster, it was a big deal as a kid. So when you got off this ride, this attendant would be there, and they'd be like, "Welcome to Alaska," and I didn't know what the fuck they meant. And now someone validated that wasn't just something I made up, that did happen and why it happened. They had two different stories around this roller coaster, and they never actually linked them up. So it's just interesting, this whole thing. In the meta moment, the book club book, which I'll be updating the website and we'll be reading soon, is Emily Wilson's new translation of the Odyssey.
By Homa.
Yeah.
Not dancing Homa.
My man Homa.
Just regular Homa.
Stabbing Homa.
Yeah.
Well, he does stab that Cyclops in the eye, so.
Homer isn't the one who stabs.
Well, if Homer wrote it, then ostensibly, if you take the Princess Tutu look, Homer did stab that Cyclops in the eye by way of a character that he created. But I digress. We were at PAX South. We were at MagFest. We have video from both those conventions on our YouTube channel and much more to come. We also, Scott just uploaded, today.
It's a little bit late because it's there's already 3 or 4 episodes in the current anime season, but we didn't see any of them at the time of this recording.
Yep.
So we still judged the winter 2018 anime season by its cover. And I mean, all this, I think it's in time, right? The spring one will be more on time.
Yep.
You're good.
More you need to subscribe to Scott's YouTube channel because this video is good and we're doing this as a series, but they're on Scott's channel because he makes the videos. And
I mean, I can't upload them to your channel. It's your channel. I can't log into it. I need your Google account.
And we are way too far down the road of having our own channels to make a new branded channel that'll have no subscribers.
There is a GeekNights channel, and we sort of, I think I can still log into it, but it's
problematic because we made it in an ancient era of YouTube and Google.
I mean, the real goal is to if we're ever making enough video to where it matters, we would just YouTube would talk to us, right?
Yeah.
And make us an accommodation. And if it's not at that point, then who gives a shit, really?
Yeah, but anyway, if you feel like you're missing out on some GeekNights talks and videos,
you can always go to frontrowcrew.com where all of our content is forever.
Except this one, because if you go to frontrowcrew.com, it's still the balancing game design.
No, I put the thing on.
I think you set the date behind the date of balancing game design.
Did I?
Balancing game design shows up on the front page.
I don't know. Go check it right now.
No.
Okay.
So yeah, otherwise, we got no conventions until PAX East.
Good.
We can finally relax and actually do Geek Nights again.
Yeah.
So follow us on all our stuff and stay tuned. The next video I'm going to upload is the top 40 tabletop games you need to play from MagFest, which was actually a pretty good panel. So we played a game that Chris and Anthony brought. It's another one of these indie Japanese tabletop games.
We played it at MagFest and PAX South.
Yes.
And it was made by the same person who made the Yokohama, and which we didn't like, and what other game?
Hisashi Hayashi. Let's see.
We played
Yokohama.
We played a few games by this person.
Yep, Yokohama's the one that I remember.
There was also some Emperor one or something that I sucked at.
Wait, link for no. Oh, here we go. Emperor's Choice.
That one. I sucked at that.
I liked Emperor's Choice. It has some problems, but I enjoyed...
Wait, or is Emperor's Choice the one I was good at? I forget. Well, the one where there were the scoring cards flipped over, is that it? Or is it the one
Emperor's Choice?
Okay, that's the one I sucked at. The one where you place your worker and you could occupy 2 spots.
That is the game you'll never forget. Your year with the dragon.
Is that made by the same person also?
No.
Okay. Anyway.
This is the Emperor's Choice person.
Anyway, so yeah, this game is called Rattaneer, and when we saw the game, at least I was immediately attracted to it because, as the name implies, it is a combination of rats, squeak squeak, eating pizza, and also Buccaneers, yar, we are pirates, let us be cute pirate rats, pirates who are cute. I don't know why they didn't translate it to pirate, but Rattaneer is okay. Yeah, it's a game where you are pirate rats trying to out-pirate the other pirate rats.
So it's not a great game. It's not in the class of like Tigris and Euphrates.
I mean, the theme, though. The theme.
The theme's good.
Yeah.
And the game is relatively unique in that there are few games that use a mechanic like this.
There are not many games I can compare this game to mechanically, no.
But the game has a lot of the elements. Like, I feel like a game that was meatier, that did some of the things this game does, would be very much up my alley. But this game is good. It's a good game to bust out at a convention because it generates a lot of moments where everyone goes, oh shit, really? And something crazy happens.
So first of all, the game is really cute. I was immediately attracted to these pieces in the game, one of which had a tiny cute rat and a little red and white floaty rat.
There are only 2 images of this game on Board Game Geek.
Yeah, which is the cutest little rat I've ever seen. And then I was told that is the Rat King of the Sea.
The Rat King of the Land is pretty good, though.
The Rat King of the Land is also cute, but not as cute as the Rat King of the Sea with the red and white floaty.
The floaty is what does it.
Yeah, I'm all about the Rat King of the Sea. I almost thought about making that a Twitter avatar.
So the theme is your rat pirates, whatever. But the gist of the game,
the main mechanic that matters,
you do a blind bid for where you're gonna go on this chain of islands.
Everyone's got 2 pirates, and you never get more. And you could get some deckhands, but whatever. You basically secretly allocate to. There's a chain of islands from the land out to the treasure island in a straight line. And you allocate secretly where you're going to send your pirates and your deckhands.
So you'd be like, I'll send a pirate to Island 1.
And I'll send a pirate. I'll send a pirate to the magical treasure island, and a pirate to this middle island, and a deckhand on the land, and so forth. Right?
And the islands all have goods that you're going to do some stuff with.
All the islands do stuff. Whatever.
The islands all have goods on them.
Yeah.
The treasure island has crazy bullshit on it.
Everyone reveals, and then simultaneously, and sends out their pirates and deckhands to the thing. But starting at the land, where I guess the tavern is, right? Where the money is.
You go in order. You do the thing on the first place.
You go in order.
Place, then the third place.
And as soon as you reach a spot in the chain, it's just a straight line, where nobody sent anybody. No one sent a pirate. No one sent a deckhand. No one sent anything to that spot. All of the islands further out in the chain, everyone just gets swept away to the beach and doesn't get to do that stuff. So it's really hard to do the treasure island, because to do the treasure island, you need to have something on every single other spot, something to keep that chain alive so that I guess you can get home safely with your treasure.
Now, this leads to those situations where every round, especially later in the game, people are thinking, did anyone go on Space 1? Please, I hope someone went on Space 1.
There are a lot of times where no one goes on Space 1 and everyone gets washed away to the beach.
Yep.
The end.
Now, the rest of the game is pretty simple mechanically. Like, it's not even that exciting.
Yeah, each of the different islands does something. The first space just gives you money. The second space lets you buy helping cards and more deckhands.
Yep.
All the other normal spaces are all the same, and they have cards that line up next to them that have goods, and the goods become victory points. And then at the very end is the treasure island. And I think there's another one that lets you flip victory points, and then the beach.
Yep.
Whatever.
The game is only of sort of moderate actual depth.
Yeah, the main
mechanic
is the main mechanic that's fun and interesting and that you care about is the one I just described, where you want to send your guys deep, but if you do, they might just get washed away to the beach, and sort of risk, and also looking what other players are gonna do,
and if you fill in stuff,
but trying to guess what they're gonna do, and then
if you fill in stuff to go deep, you're giving other people potentially a stepping stone to go deeper.
Right, and if you look at some spaces in the middle, and it's like, well, that's a really good spot to go, but if I go there, Rim also goes there. I'm gonna get less stuff. But wait, if I don't go there, Rim's gonna go there alone and take all the stuff.
So here's where this has another level of that same sort of like guessing what the other people are gonna do and anticipating and risk taking, is that all the islands where you get stuff, if you're there by yourself, you get all the stuff.
Yep.
If you're there with other people, you take turns based on some rules and who gets stuff.
You're basically looting cargo ships.
But if one of those islands has fights on it, you gotta win the fight.
Otherwise, everyone dies and goes to the beach.
And when you win if you win the fight, the dudes you use to fight the fight generally die. So
unless you have cards.
But all the people on that island share the fight and the results together.
So if you get someone else to fight, you can get treasures by joining in.
So there's multiple levels.
But if you go there and then no one else goes to fight there, you could just die.
Multiple levels of anticipating what other people might do and planning on that and risk taking based on that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of strategy, the trouble with the game is that really The only thing, like, the strategy is pretty simple. You play conservatively when you're ahead, and, well, in the sense that you play easy plays early in the board, and you don't ever give people opportunities to go deeper, because why would you? If you're already ahead and there's a turn where no one gets to do anything, you stay ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're losing, you take increasingly desperate, risky strategies to try to go deeper, to try to get a big payoff because you're hoping that nobody went on the place with 3 fights and you get all the goods.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the only strategy involved.
Yeah, I mean, but that's the interesting part, right? What other game does that? Most of the risk-reward games are games of, like, pushing, like, no thanks, where it gets deeper and deeper and deeper, and then you take it. Or
but those games don't rely on anticipation.
Infiltration, where you go deeper and deeper and deeper, then turn back, right? Or Deep Sea Adventure, where you go deeper and turn back.
Let's talk about all
in
those
this game,
examples.
every single turn, it's like, how deep is it safe to go? Every single turn, you're making a brand new judgment, and you're getting severely punished for going too deep.
Is the splendor of that kind of game.
But
it's
then
the
you can
most
try
minimal
again.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, Entdecker has that to a big degree.
A little bit.
Entdecker, when you're exploring, that's the how much are you going to risk? What's the risk-reward ratio?
Mm-hmm.
But most of these games, the risk-taking is independent of anticipating what other players will do. Like, in Infiltration, it's obvious what other players will do because the game's actually... Infiltration,
you don't have as much freedom.
I have an increasingly dour opinion of because the game always plays out the same way and you have very little agency. It takes too long for what you get out of it.
That's true.
And it is almost never viable to go even halfway into that stupid place.
You need some luck to get deep.
You need a lot of luck to go deep.
Unlike Deep Sea Adventure, where you can get the big treasures reliably.
Yep. Rattaneer is a pretty good balance of these mechanics, and you get to have that go deep or not, anticipate other players over and over and over again. My only complaint, and I'm not going to complain that the game's a little random with the cards, because it is, but that's not bad. That's fine for this level of game. My only complaint is the game takes about 10 to 15 minutes longer than it feels like it should.
Yeah, my complaint with the luck, actually, in this game is that you have the land sea rat king and the water rat king, right? The cutest pieces. And they rotate around the board fairly, so everyone gets a roughly even number of times as both. And basically what those do is they allow you to either have priority on the land spaces or priority on the water spaces.
Which gives you more context to decide what other players are going to do.
So when you are the sea rat king, you want to play your guys out in the water, and you will get first dibs even if someone goes to the same space you go to.
But everyone knows you're going to do that.
Obviously, but I mean, you just do it anyway because you still get first dibs. What are they going to do about it, right?
Yeah.
And then if you go land, you're the land rat king, you also get first dibs. You can get more money or more cards or whatever before other people. And so they rotate evenly, and it's kind of fair. But the thing is, there's a lot of situations where, for example, I was the Sea Rat King once, and no one went on the one space. Just coincidence that time. And I had a good play, and I got burned, and you're only gonna get to be the Sea Rat King like 2 or 3 times. GG. I basically lost right there.
Why'd you take that risk?
I didn't, how was I? Why would I go on the land space when I'm the Sea Rat King?
You
right?
put one deckhand there as insurance.
But I'm just saying, it's like
this risk reward. This game, you literally can spend actions, which are the primary economy in the game, because you don't get many.
Yep.
To buy insurance.
Yep.
By putting a deckhand somewhere to ensure
I'm just saying,
plays.
it's just a thing that can happen, right? It could be not even getting a big, that's an example of really big bad luck, right? I'm talking about a little bad luck. Like, I was the Sea Rat King, and there really weren't any good islands to go to. Like, there weren't a lot of cards out there to pick up on when I happened to be the Sea Rat King because of the way the turns went. And then I did the best I could and whatever. And then I passed the Sea Rat King to the left, and suddenly all these amazing diamonds get dealt out, and now the person to the left of me is the Sea Rat King.
Diamonds.
And they get all these victory points by going to this awesome island, and because I was just the Sea Rat King, I have like no priority on water. I have priority on land. I can't get those victory points just because luck.
Yep.
I mean,
that's why I say
board
the game
games
needs to be.
I'm not saying this is bad. Board games have luck. That's a thing.
But that's why I'm saying the game needs to be like 15 minutes shorter.
Yeah, it doesn't ruin the game. It's a thing.
If the game were shorter, that would be less of a concern because you just play it again.
Yep.
The other funny thing, as Demo Weasel just pointed out in the chat, it's not localized so well.
Well, yeah, there's some really funny things like so.
The bogus money artisan.
Yes, there's there's cards for the special rats that you can buy on the land at the tavern.
A few of them are basically like translated wrong. So
Right,
like the surgeon is the thief.
Yeah, they wrote the wrong words on them, but the best one
The
is
bogus money artisan.
the counterfeiter who gives you like a money every turn, basically, something like that. But instead of saying counterfeiter, it says bogus money artisan, which is amazing.
I will, at any point in my life where there is an opportunity to say the word counterfeit, I'm going to say bogus something artisan
Well,
instead.
say bogus money and say bogus money artisan.
Yeah, but it could be bogus anything. I mean, we're going to do a Geek Nights episode in the future
Or
on the bogus board game artisans.
Are you a bogus MP3 artisan? Is that what you are?
But I would say that if you are the kind of person who whips out games for people, like you're the kind of person who brings a game to your group and says, hey, let's play this game. It's cool. This is a game to have. This is a game that a lot of people you bring games for have not played before.
Right. Also, people haven't played this. It has cute rats that can bring people in. It has a cute pirate theme that you can get into.
It's pretty quick
Even
to
though it
teach.
has some problems, you can still get enjoyment out of it multiple times. It's easy to learn. It's quick to learn. Even though it's too long for what it is, it's still not long to play overall.
Yep.
And it's unique. It's not like other games. You have this unique mechanic that make it worth playing. There isn't like some replacement game that's like, oh, you shouldn't play Rattaneer, play this instead. It's like there isn't really a game that I've seen that has that chain connection mechanic that's really interesting. I almost sort of feel like it's it's obviously nothing like Fury of Dracula, except Fury of Dracula has the Dracula's hidden movement mechanic
which is amazing.
That is unlike any other game, and the rest of the game is meh. Rattaneer has the chain simultaneous placement mechanic, which is unique and unlike any other game, and the rest of the game is a game.
If we could make the combat in Fury of Dracula act somehow like this blind bid system in Rattaneer.
So basically take two unique systems and combine them, and that's the whole game?
Yep.
Just two really interesting unique systems together?
I feel like that could work.
Go for it.
That goes against most of the advice we give people for designing games.
But yeah, it's, definitely, I think, there was so much attention on the Euro games. I'm glad we have some friends who pay attention to the Japanese-produced board
because
games
frankly,
out there.
I do not have time to pay attention to that right now.
And I'm sure there are other countries besides Japan and European Union that are and United States that are producing quite excellent tabletop games, and I would like to see some of those. Please translate them and deliver them to us forthwith.
All right, we out.
Mm-hmm.